new people, and it's awesome. So this has been amazing, boss. This is awesome.
Excellent, excellent. And
Jeremy, and welcome, Brian.
Welcome everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
good
And great.
morning.
I'm glad you two got to talk, because that's what the 6:30 is for. Is to be able to talk to each other, get people's numbers, share stories, whatever else it is. That's what 6:30 is for. So to 7 or even doesn't matter, but that's the point. So I'm glad you guys were able to do that.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you both. Thank you both. That's why I want to encourage. So I want us to get here earlier so we can have, conversations about more than just this, right? So awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, welcome to another edition of Death Row Records. Another another studio session. All right. So today is going to be, week after week, I have so much I want to tell everyone. I want to tell you guys, right? And so I always have so much information to give you and so much to tell you and talk to you about and things like that. And so my intention is for you to be able to take the information and that is given and be able to find yourself in it. Some part of it that's relevant to you, whether it's your personal life, your professional life, your relationships, your money, your health, all of it, right? So that's my intention, is to provide information for all of you to find yourselves in, to lead you back to you, right? It's to lead you back to you. The information is right to form the inward part of you. It's to inform you, right? Actively. The Asian is the act of, right? Forming in, right? So that's what the information is for, right? It's to lead you back to you. So much of it is given every week, every week. Today is more of like a Q&A day. Not because I don't have anything to say. It's not like it for a break. It's because I want to hear from you. This is a day to be able to hear from you, to say, okay, what questions do you have? Or what things did you understand? What things do you not understand? What do you agree with? What do you not agree with? It doesn't matter, right? But just an opportunity to hear from you. So in case they're just questions you never got a chance to ask, or questions that you thought of during the week, or things that you're trying and you're saying it's working or it's not working, or how does this work, or whatever it is. But the information is not so much about what I say. The information is about what is it about what I say? How does that make you think? What does it make you think? What does it make you think about? What does it inspire in you? What does it wake up in you that you can look at and say, oh, now I have this thought, or I'm thinking about this now, or I want this now, or I want to eliminate that, whatever else it is. It's not about me telling you what to do or telling you how to live. This information is to inform you, to get you to start the act of forming yourself, right? The inward part of you, to make it the way you want it to be, to make your life, yourself, your experience the way you want it to be. So today is, more of like a Q&A day to talk about anything you want, health, business, whatever else it is. So that, because I want to hear from you. It's not just me standing up here. I want to hear from you and see what it is you guys want to hear, what you're understanding, whatever it may be. So we'll start with a little warm up like we always do, just to get the mind pumping and everything like that. So I don't know if you guys can see. I don't know if you need a spotlight up. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is the Davis-Bacon Act. The Davis-Bacon Act, right? So does anybody know what this is? Has anybody ever heard of the Davis-Bacon Act? And if you haven't, that's cool. I'm assuming most people haven't. But if you had to guess, right? Which really won't be probably all that helpful, but just in the sake of fun, if you had to guess, right? What do you think? What could you guess this would be about? Anyone venture a guess?
The manufacturing of processed pork meat.
Say it again.
You said the manufacturing of processed pork meat.
The manufacturing and process
Pork.
pork meat.
And Sparkle could pork loss.
Pork. Okay. So right. All right. So okay. So this was about 1931. So earlier in the before around the 6:30 time, Leslie and I kind of had a short little conversation talking about the difference between intent and outcome. So this is a great example of that. Davis-Bacon Act of 1931. This act is what turned into what we today call minimum wage law or laws. This was the act that basically put into effect minimum wage laws, what you would call what they call them, like living wage, minimum wage, things like that. That's what. So Davis and Bacon were both representatives in government. These were two people who were representatives in government. So this is the difference between intent and outcome, but from two sides of a coin, right? So here's what I mean. So this act happened when the country was being built in the early 1900s. All the laborers were basically trying to basically get hired. So you had who are you going to pay to build a building? Are you going to pay this person or this person? So what eventually happened was when they were building the labor in the North, especially like the Midwest, Chicago, Detroit, especially the Midwest, but the North and the Midwest, what was happening was you had people competing to get these jobs, to build buildings, especially to build buildings, to build a lot of infrastructure. And the government itself was building, right? So you have all these government buildings, courthouses, all these different government buildings. So what was happening was there were people living in, let's say, Detroit or Chicago. And so they wanted to basically bid to work on these sites, building buildings. So what would happen is a business owner would bring cheaper labor from the South and bring them up north. And so essentially they would say, look, here's a piece of, this is really where mobile homes came from, the concept of mobile homes. What would happen was they would put out a whole bunch of different mobile homes and they would bring people up from the South as cheaper labor and say, look, this building is going to take 2 years to build. You can bring your family and live here for free. And you can go to school in the area because your family is here. And you can live here for free and we'll pay you X amount of dollars. Well, as a result of that, the people who were already there could not live on that same wage. That was not a living wage to them, right? So the living wage in Detroit, let's say at that time let's say it was $4. Well, the people they moved up from the South, they would give them a mobile home, let them live there free, and pay them $1.50. So when the people in the town that needed a living wage were trying to compete for these jobs, the employer said, well, I'm going to pay these people, they're $1.50 instead of your $4. So as a result, we are going to pay these people. So the $4 people were like, well, we can't live on $1.50. And the people here are taking jobs from the place that we live. So therefore, they enacted this act. Well, so the intention was to make a living wage for the people of that area. And so they decided they need to set a minimum wage. So that's why if you look at all of the states that we're all in differently, our minimum wages are different, right? California is one thing, Florida is another, Texas is another, right? The minimum wages are all different, right? And the reason that is because the cost of living is different, right? Now, it doesn't mean everybody likes what theirs are, and they probably should be raised everywhere, but this is how this all got started. So what happened was, what eventually happens though, is that people don't understand. So the intention is, okay, we're going to make the playing field even. But what happens is that it actually hurts the less privileged, the less educated, the less skilled, and everything else. Because if an employer has to pay everyone $10, the minimum wage is $10. The intent is that everyone's ability to live goes up. However, everyone's ability to live doesn't go up, because if everyone has to pay somebody $10, then a person who's less skilled than someone else applying for this job will never get it. They'll never be able to learn on the job. There'll never be any on-the-job training. There'll never be anyone who's not ready as they are to get this job. So then what it does is the people who said, okay, because the lower wage jobs at the beginning were for people who were less skilled. They were for, a lot of times there were people who were less skilled, younger people who had less life experience, all those different things. So the intention was to raise everybody's standard of living. But what happens is it actually ends up when, if everybody has to get paid $10, then now the people who are getting paid $15 that are now unemployed are going to get this $10. The people who were making $7 going up, ready to get a raise, just got canceled out by the people who were making 15, because maybe they had more skill, maybe they had more experience, maybe they had more whatever else it is. So what ended up happening was that this law, when it got enacted, it took out the people who were apprentices trying to go up the ladder, the people who were less skills trying to get into the job. Any entry-level jobs now became more desirable for people who are already in positions that either lost their jobs or had more skills coming from somewhere else. So essentially, as the wage went up, it actually prevented entry-level jobs from being entered. So the intention was to raise everybody's standard of living, but the outcome actually prevented certain people from being able to live at all. Because the only thing, when you're less skilled or less experienced, the only thing you can offer is your labor at that point. But if I have to pay you the same as somebody who can do it and you're learning, then I'm going to pay the person who can already do it. I'm never going to give you a chance to learn. Right? So when people are fighting for the minimum wage, the people who are fighting right now, even today, the people who are fighting for minimum wage to go up are going to be the first people to lose their job, because they don't understand the difference between intent and outcome. If you are a lower skilled worker and you don't have, essentially your wage is based on your skill, right? Essentially your ability. The lower your ability is, the less you can command for your labor. So when you raise that pay scale, if your skills are not commensurate to that rise, you are now going to be cut off. And everyone at that level or up or at that level going down are going to be able to take the jobs that you were marching for. So they're sitting on the sideline watching you march, raise the minimum wage level to what they call a living wage. But now somebody else who already has skills, experience, and whatever else is going to take that job from the person who actually needed it, because this was entry level. But as you raise it, it goes above entry level, not because of your skill, but because of compensation. So entry level is based on compensation. It was originally based on skill. But as they started to have to pay everyone the same thing, then the outcome now flipped. So now it actually hurt the people who needed the entry-level job, the entry-level experience, the entry-level opportunity, the access, right? So saying that to say, a lot of choices we make in life are well-intended, well-intentioned. We mean well, but we have to be mindful and look at the outcomes of what we're actually doing. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't mean that. Oh, I can't believe that happened. Well, a lot of times, because once we get a good idea or a good feeling, we just go off and run with it, and we don't actually stop and say, okay, if I do this, then what are the possible outcomes? What could possibly happen as a result of me doing this? And a lot of times, especially when we have a good idea or a good feeling, we just throw everything else to the wind. So while we're in a good mood doing it and while we think we're good people doing it, the outcome doesn't reflect that. Right? And so we have to be mindful of the difference between intention and outcome. They're not synonymous. They don't just because we mean for something to be good doesn't mean it is. Or just because we mean for a certain outcome to happen doesn't mean it will, if we're not aware of how, if I make this decision, how does it affect that decision? If I do this thing, how does it affect that thing? And so a lot of times we become blinded on only one part of the equation. We only think about, I want this, so I'm going to do it. So then we get into the difference between, right, what I want, like what I want or what I want to do, almost, versus what's in my best interest. Those are not synonymous, and a lot of times it takes skill to be able to blend the two. A lot of things that we want to do aren't necessarily in our best interest. And we have to, just like minimum wage, just like intent versus outcome, just like what I want to do versus what's in my best interest, we have to make sure that we understand which one of those are actually at play and the outcome of either. Because a lot of things that we are doing are not actually in our best interest. They're just something we want to do. Right? So if we were to ask if we were more conscious during the day, during just one day, and say, is wherever I am right now, is this in my best interest? Wherever I'm eating right now, is this in my best interest? Whomever I'm talking to on the phone, is this in my best interest? For how long I'm talking, is this in my best interest? If we were more conscious and mindful of, is what I'm doing actually in my best interest, meaning when it's all said and done, the outcome of this thing is actually agreeable to me. And I think a lot of times we are looking at something very short-sighted and very narrow-minded. And so we call that focus, but it's not necessarily the big picture. And we need to focus, but it still needs to be on the big picture. And there's a difference between intention and outcome. There's a difference between what I'm doing and is what I'm doing actually in my best interest, the best interest of myself. And if I'm the doer of this thing, right? So there are little things that make big differences. And the goal here is to be more perspicacious, to pay more attention to detail, to think more about, think doesn't mean worry, think doesn't mean fear, think doesn't mean second guess yourself. It just means actually sitting back and just calculating something and saying, if I do this, what could be the outcome of this? Who could it affect? Will it actually get me what I want? Or am I just doing this hoping I get what I want? Is this a hope or a wish, or is this fact? Is it truth? Like, to be able to gauge, almost like when we get in a car, we look at the gas, we look at the battery, we like all the gauges come up, right? So when we're driving, we can, when something pops on, we know what that means. That's all a part of our journey, right? And the car to go from one place to another. So when this light comes on, we have to look at it. Oil is different than the battery. Battery is different than the gas. All those are different than the temperature gauge. They all mean something different. And in order to be a safe driver, right, in order for this to be a safe experience, you have to know what each one of those gauges mean and when something is off, right? And so just meaning to get to our friend's house, meaning to get to work, doesn't mean we can turn a blind eye to the gauges of a car, to the gauges of our life, whether those gauges are health, money, relationships, personal or professional, things like that. They're all different gauges, and they're all telling us how this entire experience is going, right? So meaning well doesn't always mean well. It doesn't always mean it works out well, right? And so it is important that we are a little bit more aware, a little bit more cautious, a little bit, not cautious, but a little more thoughtful. It's a little more conscious of what we're saying, what we're thinking, what we're doing, where we are, what we're eating, who we're talking to, how long we're talking to them, just because we only have 24 hours. We only have so long, right, in this physical experience. So how we use our time is important. It is inviolable. Time is the one thing you cannot do without, right? Everything else comes from time. Every opportunity you're thinking, every relationship you have, once the time is up, all those things are gone, right? So time is the thing that we have to really be mindful of, pay attention to, and therefore respect it and ourselves in relationship to it, using the most of it to our best and highest good, right? So intention, outcome. Think about, hey, I mean well, have an idea, I mean well, is this actually going to end up well? Meaning, if I do this, if I apply this, can I think this out a little bit, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down the road and say, what do I think can happen here? What are maybe some unintended consequences I may not be considering, right? Things like that. Or when you're talking about what I want to do versus is this in my best interest? We have to make sure that those are not just synonymous things. Oh yeah, I want to do it, so why would it be bad? Or bad is not the best word, but well, how could it go wrong? There's a lot of ways it can go wrong if you're not thinking above or beyond anything but that. Right? That's super. So just something to kind of warm us up today a little bit, think about a little bit, and get a good understanding of, or just some thought about. Yes.
Leslie put in the chat, chess, not checkers.
There it is. Right? There it is. So just little things like that, right? So a lot of times people do things and they don't wonder why, and they wonder why things. Have you ever noticed now when you go to, I don't know if it's the same everywhere. You go to California, you go to Target, you go to Walmart, you go to places that 20 years ago had a completely different demographic working there. And now when I go, I see, elderly people there. I see people, places that would not have been there 20 years ago when I was growing up. It wouldn't have been there. But now the world is changing so much. Costs are changing so much. So a lot of times people end up in places where they have to go back and work longer, or now you have a lot of adults who would have never been in these positions because they were for college kids or really young adults. And now they're there because the minimum wage has gone up. So now those jobs that used to go to certain people go to people that weren't there 20 years ago. Right? Because now you can make, Target is starting down the street from ours. Target is starting at what, $20 an hour or something? Yeah. I mean, that's $40,000 a year. The average income, median income is like about that. I think it's like, no, it's a little bit higher. It's about 52 or 53.
Yeah, average, like my daughter right now is making like 19 something an hour for a summer job at Safeway.
So, so it's things are just a lot different. And so a lot of times when we're doing one thing, we're not considering the outcome on the other end, right? That's the point. So we have to make sure we're considering our outcomes, 360-degree view, right, of what we're doing and how this is likely to go or possible to go. And if we need to make an adjustment, we can, but we can't make one without a plan or make one without foresight or make one without any type of understanding beyond our original intent. That's the point. Or beyond, I just want to do something. That's the point, right? That is a huge thing because I don't think anyone, after this, we'll kind of, transition into more question and answer and things like that, because I really want to give good time for everybody to kind of just say what they say, think what they think, and whatever else it may be. Like I said before, most people are not stupid or lazy, but most people are not intentionally educated to be something else. Just saying, just allowing somebody to go to school and they graduated, yay. But if there's no intention to be something, what you are is just what the average of the environment is. And everyone is powerful, but most people perform in mediocrity. Most people will never be known by anyone except the people who know. Literally, if you shook their hand, or you were their cousin, their brother, or their friend, or if you were in their immediate circle, outside of that, most people will never be known outside of that. Because most people perform according to the norm. And the norm, and just like Woodrow Wilson talked about in high school, just regular compulsory education is just to get you to be an employee, not an employer. It's to educate you well enough to take orders, follow them, and that's it. Not to think for yourself. You don't need to think. I told you what to think. You don't need to do anything but what I told you to do. And most people never grow out of that. That's why most books, unless you're going to professional level or a very high level, just regular books are written at the 8th grade level, not higher. When you go to Barnes & Noble, that's written at an 8th grade level. Unless you're picking up a medical school book, a law book, or some type of, but just the average book is written for the average person and the average person is educated at an 8th grade level. Once you get past 8th grade, you can live. Now, you may not live well, but you can read enough, count enough. You can, but literally, your life will be hard because there's not enough wisdom. But the ability to count, read, write, 8th grader can do that as well as anybody out here on this call.
So Leslie put in the chat that now it's recommended that you write a 5th grade level.
Okay.
Wow.
I mean, all they're doing is telling the truth out loud. Because guess what? Right? Guess what? Because now 8th grade is because you had to do it yourself at some point. 5th grade is because guess what? You know what dropped it down to 5th grade level? 2 words. What are they? Well, yeah, 2 words. Leslie, I let you get the first crack. Since you brought out the truth, I'm gonna go on and let you get the first crack. 2 words dropped it down to a 5th grade level. What is that?
I don't have them. I don't have the 2 words. In my head, the words are lack of understanding.
Okay. Yeah, I gave you the first crack. You were brilliant at first, and then you failed the last part. You get a C.
We all tend to suck.
Right? Okay. Anybody else? Give me 2 words. Why did it go from 8th to 5th? Because she's right. She's actually right. There's a lot of things I don't have time to talk about, but it's true. She's right. And there's 2 words that dropped it to that. 8th grade is because you can live at that level. You can live at that level. Not well because you don't have enough wisdom, but you can stay alive. Right? So then what makes it possible for it to be a 5th grade level now? It's staring us right in front of the face.
Mindset?
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it mindset?
Nope.
Social media?
No, kind of. What is social media? What is that?
Community?
No.
Entertainment?
No. What is it
Organ-
on? What is it on? What is it on? No. What is it on?
The internet.
Phone.
Phone?
The internet.
The internet. What is another word for that? 2 words.
Communication.
Cyberspace.
Okay. No. Artificial intelligence.
Oh.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Oh.
Artificial intelligence. Right? So now a 5th grader, right, can go on their phone and get on the calculator on the phone. So they don't have to add or read or count, right? A 5th grader can go on their watch and call somebody on their phone and call somebody. You can text somebody. You can Uber somebody. You don't even have to be able to count your change at the store anymore if you use a debit card. Like, think about that. Think about that. Think about, like, I have a daughter who's 12. So her mom and I are always, when you're raising a kid, you're thinking about all the different things you have to teach them, right? So when she was in 3rd grade, when the pandemic happened, so we were in the process of working on handwriting, right? But then we had to drop that because everything went online. So now you have to be able to type to keep up with the teacher. If you can't even handwrite, you definitely can't write fast enough to write down what she's saying, right? What he or she is saying. So you got to start typing. So we were working on handwriting. Now she can type, I think last time I checked, it was like 74 words a minute. But she's been doing it since 3rd grade. You got to keep up, right? So at first it's survival. Now you're thriving, right? What it took to just hold on, now you just like that because of time and repetition every day for what? Is it almost 2 years? And in California, I don't know about other places, but California, they're super conservative. There wasn't nobody going back to school. If you coughed, the whole school was shut down. You could forget it all. Somebody coughed down the street. Somebody could walk by the front of the school on the sidewalk, and if they cough, they're like, oh, contagion. And like, they don't even go here. But you know what? They coughed, and the wind could have blown it throughout the whole. They shut it down. So she's been typing for 2 years. So, but the point is that so as a result, you can bring down 8th grade to 5th grade. With a phone, you can dang near do everything. And with a debit card, you can do the rest. You don't have to count your change at a store. So I was like, oh, okay, well, handwriting don't need to do that. So now we're kind of going back to it just because we can, so we can perfect it because it looks like a hot mess, right? But it's because it wasn't practiced like we all had to practice it growing up. But we didn't have computers, so we're not better people. We just didn't have the same options. We perfected the option we had, right? But that meant we still had to be able to do more. When you go to the store, you're able to count your change, right? But now with a debit card, you don't have to do that. With all this artificial intelligence, it lowers your skill level, your necessary skill level until you're an adult. So they're like, oh yeah, it's all good. Hey, well, tell me what you can do. Nothing. I've been doing nothing since 5th grade. The calculator is doing my numbers, debit card is doing my money, the phone is calling this is doing that. So I really haven't developed any skills. If I lose this phone, I don't know any number in it. If half of the kids at my daughter's school didn't have their phone, they couldn't even call their parents. They don't know the number. They haven't memorized anything. Right? If you put a normal fifth grader going to the store to count their change, they just expect change, but they won't know what it is. If it's not on the register, they just be like, I get back something, don't I? They wouldn't know. We all had to know, right? So that was up to the 8th grade level. Now it is true. Leslie is right. It's 5th grade. You can do anything you want with that phone. As long as you got a phone and a debit card, you can make it now. In the world we're living in, until you become an adult and you don't have enough skills, and then you regret it. But growing up, you can. So it's true.
She said, Giovanni had mentioned she's noticing like a struggle with note taking. And she said, they'll be like in the gift shop, they don't realize they don't have enough money to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then I had said, that's one thing I did right, is I had made my daughter memorize her number. And Leslie just responded, I required my daughter to memorize phone numbers, in order to get a phone. And that's what yes.
But how many parents don't? Oh, my son has a phone, or his friends have a phone, or her friends have a phone. And it's like, yeah, but are you feeding them? What's that got to do with you? What's that got to do with your kid? You know, even if they're, and well, what are they going to do? What are they going to do if they don't have a phone? Well, they can, it's like, well, think about it. Most of the places they're at, either their friends have a phone or they're with adults. So if you have a 5th grader in that Safeway by themselves and they're lost, an adult's not going to let them use the phone. But even if they did, they couldn't call you anyway. They don't know your number. They don't even know your address. They just, I'm home. What? Cover up the house number and see what they say. What's our address? Yellow house with a red roof. No, what's the numbers? They wouldn't know what it is. Rudimentary.
She might eat something and ask, what can we do to elevate our minds and creativity?
Yeah. Because now, guess what? Now, if you don't know, just ask Siri. This is artificial intelligence. And so all it's doing is either preventing you from ever having any, numbing the intelligence you do have, right? Because everything now just becomes a crutch. We don't even try to figure out the numbers. We don't try to do the math. We just go down a list. Call Edgar, right? We just, boop. Boy, if you lost, most of the adults, if they lost a phone, they couldn't even call their own family themselves anymore, right? It's just, right? This is what it is, right? So you have people living, like, you have some people who never grow up, and you have the people who are growing up taking steps backward. They just forgot how to count, forgot how to do this or do that, right? So that's why it can go down to 5th grade now. That's, Leslie, you're absolutely right. And Giovanni, you're right. You're right, man. Kids are just, now there's so many skills that we had to have to live that they don't have to have. Absolutely. They should have, but they don't have to have. So they're just like, yeah, I don't know handwriting. I don't need to count my change. I got a debit card. I don't need to know that I got this. And it's in the cloud, right? If I lost that, it's in the cloud, right? Like, there's no reason to actually learn anything, retain anything. But as a result, everything is not yours. You don't actually own anything. You don't have a mastery of anything. So yeah, that number's in the cloud, but unless you own the cloud, or you can find it or see it, or I don't know where the cloud is. I'm looking, I don't see no, like, some kind of AI cloud. They ain't put no name on it. So then what cloud are you talking about? Where are you going to find it? Right? If they cut the electricity off, clouds up. Electricity go out, clouds over, y'all, party's up. Right? So these are things that, but a lot of us as adults, we have to make sure we're on the same page with our own self, right? Keep your mind firing, keep it ticking, right? Stuff like that. So good. Well, that was a good segue into everything. So like I said, today is Q&A. It's like I said, it's not because I don't have anything to say. It's because I've been saying for weeks, and it's important to hear what you have to say. It's important to hear what you want to know. It's important to hear what you guys think, what you feel. That everything that I give you is for you to find yourself in it in whatever way or part that you can, so that it inspires you to think about you, your life, yourself, your money, your health, whatever it is you want to think about. This information is to inform you, to form the in of you, right? So, go ahead.
Oh, I Kia put in the chat, mastery is the key, what we are here to master.
That's correct. That's correct, right? It's to be taught, and eventually so that you can be self-taught, right? So that you can teach yourself, so that you can learn how to think and teach yourself, right? We're all the masters of our lives, whether we know it or not, we are, right? So in order to be able to do that, right, we have to have some self-mastery, the ability to teach ourselves, the ability to learn how to learn, right? What to learn, when to learn, how to learn, all those different things so that we can be self-governed, right? So that we can be free. We can be free people, right? Free people. So, so all this information is for that, right? So talking week after week after week, sometimes it's important. Well, not sometimes, it is important at certain points to just stop talking and start listening. So I want to hear from you. What questions do we have? What does anybody want to talk about? What is anybody thinking about? What has anybody been learning or discovering the last couple of weeks from all the stuff we've been talking about? It doesn't have to be the exact stuff, but what the stuff we talked about made you think. And so you started applying in your life or making you think about what has it done to you, for you, because that's what all this is for. It's to do something to you and for you, right? So, and you decide what the 2 and the 4 is. Take the information, take the groceries, cook up your own meal, whatever it is you like, right? So, yeah, so let's open it up. What does anybody want to talk about? What does anybody have questions about? What does anybody want to throw out there and get started with?
Coach Lucky, I want to say that this is my third meeting with you, my third call. And I want to say that specifically when I was listening to you speak earlier, I want to point out that my favorite teachers are the ones who don't knock something that may not be the most effective method. They don't knock it. They just introduce you to other methods and compare the two in a sense of like, let me be specific.
Sure.
You mentioned intention versus outcome.
Yes.
And so you weren't knocking those who think about what they want when you were presenting your position. You're not knocking people who are in tune with what they want. You're just also introducing them or reintroducing some to the idea that, hey, there's what you want and there's what's best for you. So both are cool. There's nothing wrong with thinking in both directions, but if you want to move the needle, then let's think about the outcome of both. Like, you allow there to be room to imagine. The way you teach, you allow room for imagination. You allow room for like wonder. And I'm very in touch with my inner child. So that's important to me as I'm learning. That's the type of teacher for me. So when I come across people like yourself, I value them a little differently. There's a different type of invitation into my world that comes with teachers like that, because I don't understand knocking others who are not on the path to where they want to be, or I just don't understand the negative energy that comes with that. So I've come back again because the way you teach makes me feel safe. Now, I don't know what to ask you because I haven't been here that long or that consistently, but I just keep coming back. I want you to know why I come back. Vero introduced me to this space, which I'm grateful for, but you have carried me through the weeks that I was here. You have, made it where I wanted to come back. So I just, like I said, I don't have a question, but I'm grateful for the method of your teaching style because it sticks. The information sticks, the notes are great. And I was sitting with my daughter writing my song because I was like, I have to do this. I have to do this. I commit to this. And so my daughter started writing music and she helped me write my song. We didn't finish it, but we did a nice little chunk of it. And, it was just important to me that I show up for myself because it was a safe space environment. So I just want to tell you that, like, just to give you feedback on what I'm getting from this program.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate your candor and your comments. I really appreciate that. And most importantly, I appreciate that it's helping you, because that's what I care most about. To your point, it's about you. It's not about me. It's about you and all of you. It's about giving you information that makes you think in a way about you and finding out how this is going to work for you, how to apply it for you. And I'm super happy to hear that that's happening, because that's my sole intent. Right. And so that makes me happy, especially as parents. We say 1,000 things to our kids. We know what we mean, but we hope what we mean is sinking through. We hope we don't know what they're getting, but we know what they're saying. So, teaching is the same thing, obviously. Right. And so I appreciate that. Thank you for telling me that, because it makes me feel good to know that you're getting what my intention is.
Absolutely.
is for you to feel that way. That's awesome. Thank
Absolutely.
you, Spark. Thank you.
Coach Lucky,
Yes.
it's Leslie
Hey.
again. Hopefully I'm not sucking right now. So the thing that I struggle with
Okay.
is I understand and want to just totally absorb myself in 100% of what you say in reference to mindset. And that shift is necessary for me, and I'm eager to apply it to my life. I struggle with the application. And that struggle comes from whenever there are roadblocks that interrupt, my goal for my change in my mindset. I feel like I fall way too far back and have to then come forward again. And what I'm hoping to figure out is, how do I, whenever roadblocks come up, how do I stand where I am and not fall backwards, but stand still long enough to figure out what I need, what my intentions are, and then move from that place forward.
Great question, Leslie. So, like I said, when I'm talking to one person, I'm talking to everyone because we can all learn, right? I think what we have to understand is that we can have, okay, so you have a child. Have you ever taken your daughter somewhere in a bad mood? You was like, girl, get in the car. Not today, just get in the car. I'm taking you to school, right? Or I'm taking you to the park. But you just, for whatever reason, you just not feeling it. Maybe she made you mad, or you're mad at somebody else, but you have to do this thing, right? So you're going to take her to school. Have you ever taken your daughter to somewhere and you just in a bad mood? Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
Right. So did she still get there?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the things I think we have to understand is our mood isn't everything. We don't have to feel like we're floating in the clouds on a high sky all the time. We don't have to feel like everything is perfect or we're perfect, or we don't have, this is not, that's why I say it that way. This is not positive thinking. Meaning I'm not just trying to get you into like some kind of psychic cult where you're just out here just saying, the sky is blue and it's pouring rain. Like we're not trying to fool ourselves into something. That's not what we're doing. We can have days where we don't feel the best. We can have days where, where things aren't going the way we want them to. And our mind is like, what in the heck is going on? You feel strange, you feel mad, you feel sad, you feel all the different things that we feel, right? But we can still get to where we're going because of one thing, just persistence. It means when you're driving down the street, you can have attitude, but as long as you keep going, you're going to get to your desired end. You can be driving down the street with a headache. If you keep going, you're still going to get to the end. The goal is to, like our health, our mind as well, the goal is to be able to, that's the goal, that's the journey that we're on, is to be able to always talk to our mind or our body or our health or our emotions, to always be self-governing. But that's the process. It's never ends. This is a lifestyle. It never ends. And so no matter how long you drive, detours never end. Road construction never ends, right? The journey never ends. You're always going to want to go somewhere. Then there's always going to be things, whether it's traffic, a detour. It may come up once a year. They're always fixing the street, or the lights may be out when you get there, right? Or there's always going to be impediments. Those are not always a reflection of you personally, but they just affect you personally. And so now when you are driving from point A to point B and there's a detour that comes up, you don't have to like it or love it, but as a mature driver, you learn how to deal with it. You say, okay, should I turn around? Should I go around this way? What are my options from here? Right? I don't have to like it or love it. Shoot, it may make me late, or no, not again. They were just doing this last week. We can feel that way about a whole lot of things, but our journey psychologically is the same way it is almost in a car. We can go in a bad mood because sometimes we just look, not today. I'm just going to work. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm just going, right? Sometimes we're in a great mood and then there's a whole bunch of detours. Lights are out. there's a pothole on the street they got to fix, car accident, or there's a parade and you got to go around. But the point is just to persist. It means no matter what, I left the house and I decided I was going to do this. I'm going here. You're deciding that you want to have a different experience. Part of that experience is the physical transition from what you have known yourself to be to what you are choosing to now be. And along that journey are things, just like they are on a road. There are things that you just like, no, not again, right? Start off in a good mood and then you see there's traffic and it's 2 hours to get to where you're going. You're like, oh God, right? Or you start off in a bad mood and then your song comes on. You're like, you know what, just shake it off. It's all right, right? All that is just part of the journey, and you don't quit because you know you have somewhere to go, right? But you can go in a bad mood, you can go in a good mood. Sometimes you feel great and then you don't, whatever else it is. But it's just the persistence. It's just, I just keep going because eventually I'll get there. And every obstacle is just an opportunity for me to not only grow, but to also see where I am in this moment. When you hit a detour on your street, it'll let you know how much of your neighborhood you know. Can I go this way? I don't know. I've never been right? Then you realize, well, maybe I should actually, maybe, in 2 months, I'm gonna get up early in the morning and just turn right and see what's over there, right? It gives you an opportunity to get a better idea of where you stand in your surroundings. It gives you a better idea to understand where you stand in your mind about certain things, right? And all these opportunities are there for us to get a better idea of our environment, of who we are, how to deal with our environment as we are, and to and encourage us to grow in ways so that we can have more control over our environment. Meaning, okay, I can go right now because I learned. I can go this way, I can go left, I can turn around and take the freeway, take the side streets, whatever else it is, right? So I'm saying all that to say to you that persistence, it just means just keep going. Don't kill yourself over it. You're not here to feel all this or that. Keep going. If you know where you want to go, if you know what you want to be, and you're operating the assumption that you already are whatever it is you want to be, it just takes time to get there physically. But psychologically, you're already there, just like you know where you're going when you're dropping your daughter off. You know if you're going to work. You know where you're going. You're already there. So you're really going there. But now physically you're going, but in your mind, you're already there. But your physical lags behind your mental. Right? It's just like you had an idea to go somewhere, then the idea is always first. Same thing psychologically. The idea to become something is always first. Then your physical world starts to look different the closer you get to that thing. The longer you're driving, the more everything starts to look like the destination you're going toward. The city changes or the environment changes or whatever else it is because you kept going. So saying I'm about to say, keep going. You don't always feel good going. Sometimes you feel great. Sometimes the sun is out, your song is on and everything is good. Sometimes the roads are blocked and it's raining, right? Sometimes, but if you know what you want and that is what you're assuming yourself to be, if you keep going, you will get there physically. Your world will physically look like that. Just don't beat yourself up along the way. You can learn anything, you can be anything, you can do anything if you are patient with yourself and you can laugh. If you can do those two things, you can have anything, because they just take time and they take the patience for you to say, hey, I made a mistake. Or, hey, man, look, I ain't feeling it today, but I'm still going. I'm taking her to work. I'm taking her to school. I'm going to school, or whatever else it is. So a lot of times we just beat ourselves up so bad. It's not that the goal is unattainable or unachievable. It's that we're too beat up to make it. We call ourselves names. We quit. We think, oh, I'll never make it. Oh, what's the point? Doing the right thing is always worth it because the outcome is worth it. The outcome of doing the right thing is worth what it takes. So whatever it is you want, that desire you have, comes from within you. And the same place it comes from is the same place where the power to meet it is. It's in you. That's why it came in you. That's why it's particular and specific to you. So if you just remember that and believe that, and you just keep going, and when your back is hurting, when your head is hurting, when your feet are tired a little bit, whatever, that's when you start talking to yourself. Like, girl, we doing it. We gonna make it. Man, whatever happens, I'll always land on my feet. Everything is always working out for me. That's when you start affirming, not like the hashtag affirmations. No, it just means that's when you start talking to yourself. That's when you start talking that talk. That's when you start rubbing your skin and be like, yeah, man, I'm out here. Man, I'm beautiful and I'm strong. And I'm going, no matter what happens, I'm going. I mean, no matter what happens, I'm going. I made it. I'm making it. I'm doing it. Right? Everything is working for me. Everything I set my hand to prospers. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. You just start talking to yourself. Because if you don't, your mind will start talking to you. Right? And it is still in the process of training. Yeah. It's not as developed as you desire it to be yet. And that's how you do it. Shh, be quiet. My mom used to take my 4 brothers and I to church. And boy, we went kicking and screaming. I'm talking about, we did every trick in the book not to go. But she was like, get in the car, we going. We faked illnesses. We did everything we could possibly do. Shh, be quiet. Don't let me listen. If you talk up in this church, when you get out, your day is over. You'll be in the room all day, right? So our emotions are almost like our children. Sometimes we got to say, not now. Today, not now, right? I'm going. We going. So you can either go with your mouth smiling or your mouth sagging, but you're going, right? And if your attitude is too bad, there won't be no brunch after church. There won't be no playtime after church. Sometimes it's just you're the adult, right? Your desire, you are. And it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel a certain way, but you keep going because it's for you. It's about you. And as long as you talk to yourself and you remind yourself who you are and that you can do it and that you are the power, you'll get there. Everybody has some darkness on the way, but they got there. That's why everybody appreciates going somewhere, because of what it takes to get there. So everybody appreciates having a mansion, because everybody can't have one. So everybody appreciates going to Disneyland, because there's only Disneyland. There's not Disneyland in your neighborhood, so to speak, right? It's a place, it's a destination, and everybody realizes how much it takes to go, and the tickets and your time, right? So it's everything it takes is what's building you. It's building you, so that when you get there, you're a completely different person than when you left, right? And if you can just remember that, keep going, you make it. You'll make it every time.
Coach Luck.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Hold on one second. Leslie, I just want to make sure, did that answer your question?
Okay, all right.
Was that enough?
That absolutely answered my question. That absolutely filled my cup. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Okay. All right, man. What do you want?
Hey, I got a question for you. Do I have time for a story?
No, man. No. Other people that I'm the only storyteller here, man. Okay. This is a monopoly.
All right.
God.
All right. Well, I just, I'm still on this thing about the power of choice.
Okay.
And how it can change your life.
Yes.
Because
go ahead.
I don't know if you remember Dr. Cherry saying that you can make the choice, but you can't choose the consequences.
Correct.
And when we hear consequences, we usually think of something bad, but there's also something good, because, you can make the choice to go to school, get your degree, and become whatever, an attorney, a doctor, or, whatever the case may be. You can also make the choice to go rob a bank, and your consequences ain't going to be good. So I think one of the things that I know that I've had to do is make better choices to make my life better. And that's all I want to say. And I'll listen to you.
For anyone who don't know, that's my dad, so I can talk to him crazy like that. So yes, we are the accumulation of our choices. We have the right to be right, the right to be wrong, and the right to be us. We can choose our mind. We can change our mind. We can choose anything. And that's when we first started talking at the beginning. We talked about intention versus outcome. We talked about what we're doing versus what's in our best interest. Those are all choices. And a lot of times, because we're not as aware that there, how people say now on the street, there's levels to this. There's levels to everything. Level up. And there's so many levels now. I don't even know what level even means or what people are talking about now, because the levels got me. I don't even know what it means now. But right, there are 5-year-olds make choices on a different level than 15-year-olds, than 25-year-olds, and 35-year-olds. right? They're all choices, but they're based on the knowledge, the experience, the information that you have. So, but every choice at every level, at every age, has what we call consequences. Consequences are literally just the natural outcomes of the choice. It's just a law. Sowing and reaping. You sow, you reap. The reap is a consequence. It's an outcome of an action. It's a natural outcome of an action. So if we, sometimes it's best for us to reverse engineer. If I make this choice, what can I imagine happening? What could possibly happen? And a lot of times people don't think about the end. They don't think about the outcome. They only think about the choice itself. But the power is not in the outcome. The power is in the choice. That is where our power lies, in the ability to choose. That's why Leslie was talking about, choosing and basically essentially wanting to choose a different outcome, right? Whether it's to be something, do something, have something. We have the power to choose. And that's one of the greatest things about being an adult, so to speak, is we feel like we have the power to choose everything, where 5-year-olds only have the power to choose certain things. So our growth and maturity is commensurate with our ability to choose and have more say over our lives. But as a result of that opportunity, it's also a responsibility. And so in order to be responsible, we have to be, like we talked about before, response-able. We have to have the ability to respond. And if we cannot be responsible without the ability, without the able, and that's why a lot of times people have such a hard time taking responsibility for choices, because they are not responsible with the choice they're making or they've made. Now they've made a choice and they can't do anything about it. Now they're just stuck where they are, how they are, what they are, and now they're just looking around for help, right? But so they can't take responsibility. They don't want to be accountable because they're like, how, with what? I'm stuck. So choices are our greatest gift beside life itself, is the ability to become whatever we want. That's why we are the highest level of living beings, of living things. We are the highest level because we have the ability to choose to be a doctor, a lawyer, father, a mother, to not be a father and mother, to not be a doctor or lawyer. We have the ability to be everything or nothing. And so that's why we reach the highest heights of things. And you see other forms of other humans in the lowest lows of things, because we have the ability to, like a roller coaster, to start from the bottom, go to the top, and come back down, right? So choices are our power. And so we try to inform ourselves as best we can so that we can make informed choices, because the outcomes of those choices will form us, will form the inner being of us, right? So you're absolutely right.
Coach Lucky, can you take it a step further? So how do we better respond so we can show ourselves able, i.e., how do we get out of our own way? Like the homework you gave us two weekends ago, and you kept saying who actually did their homework. It seemed very simple for you to map out exactly what we needed to do, yet we didn't respond very well to the action of the call to action. So how do we get out of our own way to really do the things that we know we can do?
So a lot
and
of
I know it seems simple to just do it, but psychologically, we have to get in that right mindset to make that proper response, because I want to activate my power.
Yes. So I don't ever say it's just because when we say it's simple, it's easy to understand. That doesn't mean it's simple to do. Easy and simple to understand doesn't mean easy and simple to do, right? So, and our doing is largely based on our understanding, right? So when we are saying, how do I, the reason a lot of times that we have a problem doing something that we know we should do or we want to do is because what we want is not who we are. So when we want to be healthy, that's a want, but it's not who we are at that moment. And until we are able to, in our mind, say, you know what, I can see myself being that. I can actually move into my mind and say, you know what, I am healthy. I'm making a choice to be something. Just like we make a choice to go to the store. When we make a choice to go to the store, to the point that choice makes us act, then we don't have to be at the store right then. But just the fact that that choice has made us act, it will then get us up to go to the store. So the choice then becomes enough in and of itself, because the choice has been imbued with our desire. It's like the two have become one. The choice and like, yeah, that's me, have become one. So now what it does is it gets us off the couch to go to the store. We're still not up at the store when we're off the couch, but we're not on the couch anymore either. So there's steps. And the more we believe ourselves to be something, the more steps we'll take to actualize that. So when you talked about meditation a couple weeks ago, and we got a chance to go back over it, but for the benefit of the group, it's like, well, how do I have time to meditate? Or how do I have time to, or how do I be the teacher I want to be? Or how do I want to be, or how do I be this that I want to be? First, it is the awareness that it's possible. The desire in you is like a movie trailer. It's not telling you something you have to be or something you have to see, but it is telling you something that's available. They don't make movie trailers with no movie. So now they're saying, hey, this is available to you. Your desire is like that. It's saying this is available. I'm not going to make you see it or make you be it, but you can be if you choose, right? So then the first thing, the reason that desire comes up, the reason that movie trailer is presented is first to activate your awareness, to tap into your ability to choose. Now, what choice are you making? You're making the choice to go see that movie. You're making the choice to be healthy. You're making the choice to be this. When you make that choice where you're saying, you know what? This is just who I decide to be. I don't know. When you make that choice in the movie, I'm going to go see it. You're not thinking about that day. How am I going to get there? You're not thinking about those movie trailers are sometimes 2 months out, a year out. Fast and Furious be like 2 years away half the time when you first see them in the movie theater, but they're still showing you now. They're occupying, your desire is occupying your mind now. And all it's trying to get you to do is give it permission. It doesn't need your help. It just needs your permission. It just needs your choice to be, right? So when you say, you know what? I always have time to meditate. I always have time to meditate. What you're doing is you're choosing to be something. That choice is enough. If you stay faithful to that choice, it will start to create itself in your life, because now you are conditioning your mind to a new identity, to being something that you were not before. We don't have a problem doing anything. We have a problem doing what we are not. So if I say to you, Giovanni, like my daughter doesn't like pineapple. She's not really a fan. So if I give it to her, she'll be like, do I have to? Is there something else? And I'll be like, it's all we got right now. Or she'll be like, I'll pass. Or if she's hungry enough, she'll eat it. But her and pineapple, it is not best of friends. She's just not with it. So, but I eat it. Pineapple is neutral. I eat pineapple. She does not. The identity I have goes with this thing. Her identity does not. When we want something, essentially what we're doing is we are remodeling, we are reconstructing our identity. We're adding something to it, or taking something from it, or we are enlarging something in it according to our own self. So the self of you is saying, I want to expand. I want to do more. It's not asking for your help. It's just asking for your permission. And the permission you're giving it is by the assumption that, you know what? Cool, bet, let's do that. Now, how do you do that? Just by the assumption that you are. I now assume I'm healthy. I don't care I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know what that means to me, but that's not the part of me. That's not the part of me that actually has to know that. The desire came. I didn't think about that. So the desire doesn't need your help to be. It already is. That's why it came to you. It just needs your permission to be. It needs your environment. It needs your mind, like a baby needs a womb. You're not helping the baby do anything. The baby's growing its own arms, own legs, in its own time. All you're doing is feeding it. All you're doing is providing the environment for it to be itself. Your desire just needs your environment, your mind. It just needs your permission to say, okay, I now am that. The reason we have a hard time achieving something is because we don't know how we'll do it, so we'll never give it permission to be. Just imagine if you had some young people, whether they're kids in your life, if you have kids, or whether you have nieces and nephews, or you just had any young person that you cared about enough to cook. If they came to you with a desire for pancakes, if they had to cook the pancakes themselves before they asked you, how would they ever get it? If they had to have the ability to do it before they asked you, they would never get it. Right? So a lot of times in our mind, our inability to get something is not actually inability. It's our unwillingness to ask for something that we don't know how we're going to do. But that's the whole reason we're asking, is because we don't know. That's the whole point, right? But we actually have made it a condition to literally say, well, I'm going to ask for something I don't know how to do, but I'm not going to ask until I know how to do it. I'm going to ask to be something different than I am, but until I know how I'm going to do that, I'm not going to ask. Our kids would starve. Babies would go unfed. Little people would never make it to adulthood because they can't do anything they're asking for. 99.9% of it, right? So I say all that to say that if you are willing to ask yourself for whatever, when that desire comes up, it is you saying to the physical representative, hey, let's get this in. Let's do this. I don't need your help. I just need your permission. I just need you to say, okay. And when you say, okay, you're telling me, I believe you. I'm assuming that whatever it is we're talking about here, we can get that done. So now I always have 5 minutes to meditate. I always have 10 minutes to meditate. Man, I'm a great teacher. You're a teacher yourself. If you have a classroom and you have new kids every year, a new classroom is like a new desire. If you let them kids come in with their own ideas and just start running off, running wild and doing things like that, if you don't actually decide to control this situation, it's going to be chaos, right? So you are the authority of your environment, and what you say goes. So when you have a new desire, you're like, okay, I give you permission to go to the bathroom, right? I give you permission to raise your hand. You are giving your desire permission to exist, and it will do the rest. The kids will do the rest. If you let them raise their hand, they'll do the rest. They'll talk. If you let them go to the bathroom, they'll get up and they'll go. They're only asking for your permission. They don't necessarily need your help. They need your permission to be alive, to exist, to be, to do, to have. So any desire you have within you is simply a new opportunity for a new part of your identity. And all you have to do to have that desire met is allow it, accept it to be so, by saying, you know what? Okay, I'm with that. I now assume I am the person who has 5 minutes to meditate. I now assume that every time I meditate, I come out wiser, sharper, clearer. I come out, everything is based on your expectation, your assumption of it. And a lot of times we just won't assume because we don't know how we're going to do it. But that's not the part of the equation that is ours to fill. It's not part of the child's equation to fill. They're asking you, can you cook this food? Because they know what they want, they just don't know how to do it. So they're bringing their power they have, their choice, to the person who can do the other part that they can't do. Right? Your desire is you. It can cook that food, but you have to agree with it. You have to say, okay, I'm with that. And it will cook the food that you're thinking about. It won't be you. It will be it cooking. And then it'll say, hey, all right, it's ready. Or, hey, go get the dishes. That's what inspired action is. It will tell you what part of the equation to do. It will tell you what part you need to get involved with. And it will do every part that you can't get involved with, that you don't have the ways and means, that you don't know how to do. It will do that. It's not asking you for that, but it can't do it without you. So you have a part to play. It has a part to play. And if the two become one, if you're willing to assume your desire is fact, and so it will become so, because it will do the part that you can't do. The assumption is your part. The action is its part. The two become one, and you have whatever it is you're asking for, or whatever it is you want. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you, Coach Lucky.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. Thank you for the question.
Leslie said I was fired.
Aha. Good. I'm glad everybody. Okay. Does anybody have a question? Because if not, I'm gonna say something real quick. But I'd rather you guys ask questions if you have. Okay. So let me explain something. This is everybody. This is important. This one is important. Let me explain something to you. I kind of said some of it when I was talking in Giovanni's answer, but let me kind of go big picture a little bit more. I was explaining this to someone this week this way, so I'm going to explain it again this way. Let's just say, kind of like I was telling Giovanni, let's just say whether they're your child, whether they're just a young, let's just say a young person that you love enough to cook something. Let's just say that. They can be your child, they could be your niece, nephew, somebody down the street, but somebody that you would cook something for. But a young person, meaning you're not gonna say to them, you cook it yourself. No, somebody who you know can't do it and they're asking you for something and you would do it for them. Okay, so let's go with that premise. All right. When a young person is asking you for something, like say they're asking you to cook some pancakes. When they're asking you for something, there's a word for that. There's a word for that. What is that word? They're doing something. It's an ing. Well, it's really the act of it is ing, but they're doing something. When they ask you for something and they say, hey, mom, dad, auntie, cousin, whomever, will you cook some pancakes? And let's say they're 5 years old. They can't do it.
Make me pancakes.
What there's a word that they're doing. It's a word. When they're asking you that, it's one word.
Requesting.
Trusting.
Okay, requesting.
Manifesting.
Say it again.
Manifesting.
Manifesting. Okay. What else?
Communicating.
Communicating. Closer. That's good. I'm glad you guys are all talking.
Someone
What
else requesting, so that's not it.
We use this word all the time.
They're
And
asking.
asking, okay, that's close. But think about the kid in you. This is why I'm saying this word.
Desiring,
Okay, think about but think about the kid in you. Wanting, right? But think about it as a principle, as a law. Say it again.
Making.
Nope.
Okay.
Leslie said hoping.
Hoping. Nope.
One more clue.
Trusting.
So think about the relationship between the kid and you. Think about how old they are.
Believing.
Say it again.
Believing.
Believing.
Trusting.
But what are they believing in?
The outcome.
Your ability to give them
There's
what
one
it is
word,
that they're
Giovanni. There's
asking
one
for.
word. In your whole sentence,
Ability?
there's one word.
Ability?
Nope.
Oh, God, y'all, what I say?
Believing.
Nope. You. They're believing in you. So the one word we're talking about, what they're actually doing is praying.
Oh.
They're praying. When you asking, let's just say the old school God, let's say the old school one up in the sky, just the old school one, to say that. When you are praying, you are asking for something that you don't have the means or the ability to do. You don't have it. You don't got it. You ain't got it. You ain't have it. I don't care how many ways you want to say it. You're asking for something that you don't feel the ability or the know-how to do, to be, to get, or to have. You're asking for a certain part of the equation that you can't manage. The young kids, the young people, they did have an ability. They used their ability to ask. But who did they ask? They asked you. Why did they ask you? Because they believe in you. They don't know how to cook, so they don't know what it takes. So they don't even necessarily know that you know how to cook pancakes. They're not asking because they know you know how to do something. They're asking because they know you. They believe in you. They don't even believe in your ability necessarily, because they don't know you know how to cook it. But all of us that have kids or have young people, don't they ask you for anything and everything? They say, hey, mom, before I ask you, do you know how to cook pancakes? Do you know how to, could you ask me for pancakes? Do you know how to cook pancakes? Do they ask you that first? Hey, dad, can you take me to my friend's house? How much gas you got in the car?
I'm laughing because I'm like, adult kids still asking us.
Right? Like they don't care. They don't care about what it takes. They don't even know what they should care about. So they're not asking you based on your ability to do it or your knowledge to do it. They are not talking about the pancake so much. They're coming to you to say, can you help me? There's a part of something, a desire I have that I can't meet. Can you help me? It doesn't matter whether it's pancakes, a ride to a friend's house. Can you buy me some cleats? It doesn't matter what it is. They're asking you for a part of the equation, not all of it. They know what they want. So they didn't say, hey, mom, what do you think I should want? Or hey, dad, what do you think I should want? They know what they want. But then they know what they want, but they don't know how to get it. So now they're coming to you. You are your parent. You are your children's first God. You're the first one that they're aware of. They ask you for anything and everything. They don't care about taxes, the economy, recession. They don't care about it's COVID. They don't care about any of that, right? They're like, hey, I want something. Hook me up. They come to you for everything, right? So they come to you for everything. They're praying. That's what they're doing. They're saying, hey, I want something that I don't know how to get, be, do, or have. But it ain't really okay, but that ain't gonna stop me from wanting it. So now I got to figure out who can help me do this part. That's you to them. Well, to us as the adults, we're not going to ask our kids, right? And if we don't have any one of our peers to ask, our husbands, our wives, our friends, our family, our cousin, then who are we going to ask, essentially? Right? Who would that be? Anyone? Bueller? Anyone?
Ourselves?
Yeah, but what would people call that normally? You're right. You're actually right. But what do people call that? God. That's what we'd be asking. You're right. That is you. The I am is that. What people call God, that's your I am. That's your consciousness, your awareness of being that can do anything, change itself into anything. So yes, you're both right. Right? God is the external thing that everybody's talking about. But yourself is the I am. That's actually the name of God. When it said, that's my name is I am unto all generations. That's why everybody says it. In the 20s, 1700s, 1500s, 300 BC, 2023, everybody's saying I am. It's never changed. So you're both correct. So my point is, so now as the young person, you go to your parents, and as the adult, you go to your parent. Your parent is the title of that parent is mother. They say mom, dad. Your daughter Leslie didn't come in and be like, hey Les, what's up on them pancakes? You'd be like, girl, if you don't get right. So Leslie is your name. So they don't call you your name, right? They call you your title, parent, in this case, mother, right? So God's name, God is a title. I am is the name. Mother is a title. Leslie is the name of that being, of that person. So when you say yourself, yes, because you're always saying I am and God are one. That is you. That's who you are on the inside of that body. That's who you are. You believe you're Leslie because that is your body that you have named. Just like you have a car and it has a name. It's not you no matter how long you're in it. You're not Ford. You're not Tesla. You're not Mercedes. You're not that no matter how long you've been driving. I don't care if you take a cross-country trip and in there 4 days, it's still not you. You still got to get out. It ain't you, right? So death is nothing but us getting out. That's it. Now, some people get out because of a car accident. Some people get out because of disease, but it ain't nothing but us getting out in one way or another, right? So understand that part. So Giovanni, this is kind of an extended version of your answer, right? A bigger picture version. So for all of us. So my point now is your kids come to you and they say, these young people come to you and say, hey, will you make some pancakes? They're coming to you. What are they looking for? What are they looking for you to say? This doesn't take that long. What are they looking for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're looking for you to say yes. Okay, now watch this. So the word yes. So the first thing they're looking for you to say is yes. Oh, okay, well, don't worry about it. Okay, right? They're looking for you to say yes. Now watch this. Everybody pay attention. Watch this. After you say yes, what do they do?
Celebrate.
They wait.
Right? They do just like this. Mom, can I have some? Yes. Then what do? Right? Right? They gone. They outside. They're upstairs playing their Legos. They have released themselves from all liability, responsibility, participation. They have literally said, yeah, for sure. You right? Cool. And they now we're all laughing because we know it's true, right? Okay, now. So then let me ask you a question then. Now, don't people tell you that when you ask, don't people tell you, well, when you ask God for something, you can't just sit on the couch and do nothing. When you're manifesting, you can't just sit around and do nothing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't people say that?
They do.
They do. But your kids do it. And they're eating pancakes in 30 minutes. So then you can't do it. How do they do it? They're doing the exact same. Did they not do that when you said yes?
Thanks.
Most of them leave so quick before you change your mind. They're like, she said yes. Oh, I already asked her. Go on, man. She's already gonna make it. Go on. Cool. You gonna make it? Okay. Right? They trying to hustle you. They be like, Mom, Mom, your hair looks so nice today. Is that a new nightgown you have on? Oh, that's nice. Oh, can I do anything for you? They try to butter you up. They try to do anything to get it, right? Because they know. Because all they're trying to do is get your permission. That's it. If they can just get this across to you and you say yes, they're gone. Okay. So if you are their first God, meaning the first thing they know that they just come to naturally to ask you to make something happen in their lives, and they get your permission and they walk off. What is the difference then between you getting God's permission and walking off? What's the difference?
We forget, we don't have that faith or that belief that it's doable. Like for me, my struggle has always been like always wanting to control everything and how am I going to get this done? Right? The how. So that's where I get stuck. Like the letting go is hard.
So if your daughter asked you for some pancakes at 5, and then she sat right there next to you like, are they done yet? Are they done yet? How are you going to do that? What's the margarine for? Do you even really know what you're doing? Look, man, I'm on a time crunch, don't you? Look, my Apple Watch done told me that, look, the alarm's going off and everything. The bus is coming soon. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Why is the pilot light on? Do you have to turn it that high, really? Now, they say you need to use a cast iron skillet because cast iron is actually better for you health-wise than these other type of skillets because they have all kind of poisons that leak in when you heat it up. Hey, now now is that organic margarine or no, I think you should use not butter. I believe it's not, like, I can't believe it's not butter. Really now, is that an instant pancake mix? Or are you making like the real kind? Literally, your kid would get hurt. They would get caught with an elbow right to the grill. You'd be like, listen, if you don't get out of this kitchen, I'm gonna hit you with something in here. It may be this pot in my hand. It may be his elbow, something. You'd be like, if you don't get out of here. I mean, isn't that true?
Yes.
Because, but think about it. It's true. But think about it. Why is that true? But think about actually now. I want us to laugh and be funny, but I want us to think about it. Why would we, we laugh and it's ridiculous, but it's true. We would all feel the same way. But think about why. Why would we be like, if you don't get out of here, why would we say that?
Because they're driving us crazy.
Yeah, but why are they driving us crazy?
Because they're questioning
Yeah.
our ability to fulfill the request.
Say it again.
They're questioning our ability to fulfill the request.
Correct. And there's one other reason. That's part of it. That's part of it. And that's why it says what in the book? Without faith, it's impossible to please. Without faith, without your ability, and I don't mean, it doesn't mean belief like you have to know how to do it, but you have to believe in the person you asked. Right?
They asked you.
Right? So then think about this. So number one, they're just annoying the hell out of you now. So now you just don't want to do it because you got attitude. Now you just be like, forget it. Right? So then you say to yourself, well, why are you standing here? Finish that sentence. Why are you standing here
Go outside and play.
Yeah, no. Why are you standing here? There's one
Bothering
word.
me.
No, that's one, but there's two sides. That's one. Why are you questioning me? Why are you okay? And then why are you here? There's one. Why are you here?
Bothering me.
Looking at me. Nope.
Rushing me?
Nope.
Not believing me.
Kind of, but here it is, because I want to get the time. Why are you
Questioning.
Why are you here if you can't even help me? What are you going to do for me, right? Not only are you annoying me, but what's so annoying is you're annoying me and can't even help. If you have a 15-year-old, right, you'd be like, girl, look, you better go and get this butter on up out here. No, I'm going to start showing you how to do this yourself. You can't even do that with a 5-year-old. So now not only can they not help you, and they're getting on your nerves. You got both. They question you and can't even help you. So let me get this straight. So this is organic margarine. Can you do it? If I get this cast iron skillet out, then that means you're gonna be able to cook this then, right? Well, then if you don't see, I almost threw the marker. I was very close because you guys have got me upset. I'm upset now. Right? Like they're questioning you and can't even help you. So what I'm saying to you is when everybody tells you you can't ask God for something and do nothing. Okay, when your kids asked you for something and they left, did they just leave and do nothing?
Yes.
Right? And then they went back to doing whatever they could do, whatever they were doing. So when you ask God, when you say I have a business, right? And I'm making $1,000 a week. You know what? I want to make $5,000 a week now. So you come to your inner self, right? The inner you, right? The inner Sparkle, the inner Leslie, and you say, listen, I'm now, right? The inner Giovanni, the inner Jeremy, the inner Mona, the inner Errol, the inner, all of us, the inner part of ourselves, our higher self, and say, and come to that self the same way these kids came to us and say, look, I'd like some pancakes. Is that possible? Hey, you know what? I want $5,000 a week. Now I want to make $5,000 a week. Your inner you, what does it say? I know what you have need of even before you ask. When you know your kids, how many times have they fooled you? When you know your kids, it's very rare. Now, you may not know they knew how to do that, especially when they're young, they come home with a new word. Some are good, and some of those like, who told you that word, right? Some are good, some are not, right? But when you know your kids, you start knowing what they're capable of. You start knowing, like, if somebody said, oh, your kid did this or this at school, and you'd be like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's just not, no, they didn't. Oh, yeah, that's right. We made a mistake. They call you back 2 hours later. We made a mistake. Yeah, I know my kid. I know my son or my daughter would. I just know them. Now, if you told me that, yeah, okay, they probably did that. Yeah, because I saw them do that 2 weeks ago when they're at the house. Yeah, they did that. They did that. They put the gum under the table? Yeah, because he was at the park 2 weeks ago and he had some gum and I saw him put it under the table. He didn't think I saw him, but I did. So when they call you and you know your kids, right? So if you know your kids and all of your insanity and ridiculous in humanity, in our human form, and all of our insanity and ridiculousness, and we know our kids, do you think your higher self don't know you? Do you think you're bringing up something it didn't know existed? Do you think, like, what part of this are we confusing here? Right? We're confusing it. So when your kid left and said, Mom, Dad said, yes, cool, I'm out. They went on and did what they could do. So now when you're making your $1,000 a week, and now you say, I want to go to $5,000 a week. You just say, when you ask and you say, okay, I'm now assuming I'm making $5,000 a week. I'm just going to keep doing what I could do. What else am I going to do now? What different am I going to do? I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing before I asked. However, there is something cooking. There is something cooking. And in the adult world, right? In the kid world, the pancakes are cooking. In the adult world, the idea is cooking in your mind. Now it's starting to cook. You can start to hear the butter in the pan or whatever you put. You can start to hear the cracking in the pan. You can start to smell the scent. All of that is the same thing that's happening in your mind. It's starting to crack in your mind, right? You can start to smell it in your mind. The aroma starts smelling. What do you think the crack the scent, the aroma. What do you think the scent in your mind is? What do you think scent is? What do you think a metaphor for scent would be?
Desire?
Well, the desire is what you're cooking.
An appetite, a craving.
Okay, right? The scent is the idea in your mind. The scent is what you smell physically. The desire is what you have mentally. So when you ask your higher self, I want to make $5,000, and your higher self said, okay, cool. Now the desire is in the pan. Now the cooking process starts. So now you're going to start getting ideas. Your mind is going to start to smell like your desire. The environment is going to start to smell like your desire. All the actions that need to be taken to cook this thing by your higher self is going to start to smell in your life. It's going to start to appear. You're going to start to have ideas. You're going to start to have things that come up in your life as a result of this cooking process. It's going to start to appear. And where are those kids when you're cooking? Are they in the kitchen?
Usually not.
Usually you done banished them now because they done made you mad, right? They done got on your nerves and can't help. And they know, and they guess what? And they know if they want these pancakes to be fixed or to be done, they better not come back in before you tell them because they don't want to mess it up. What I'm saying is that they have entrusted you to do a part of the process that they can't do. They know what they want. And once you say, come and get it, do they have a problem eating it?
Not at all.
Not at all. So what I'm saying to you is that when you go to your higher self and say, I want $5,000 a week, I want perfect health, I want whatever else it is, you now give that desire. You now say, I am that. They skipped away because they say, I got pancakes. It's already a done deal to them. Now, when people say take action, what action could these kids take? We just agree they can't take any, except what they already took, which was to ask and wait. If your kids are old enough for whatever they can do, you may say, you know what, they're 7 years old. But you know what? Come, okay, it's ready. Come get the cups out of the cabinet. Or, come get the knives and the fork and set the table. You would tell them a part of the process they can do. You know them well enough to know what they can do. You're not going to ask them before you should. You're not going to ask them about things they can't do. That's part of the request. The cooking, putting in the pan, putting it on the plate, turning off the stove, putting in the sink. Those are all your things because for what they asked you for at their age, they can't do any of those things. But you know what they can do. You can tell them to come sit down if they're too young, or if they're a little older, they can maybe get the knives out, or a little older, they can get the cups out. So you do the part that they can't, and then you let them know what parts they can do. That's inspired action. That's the action you're going to take based on your desire being met by your higher self. So what I'm saying to you is even what you do, number one, wasn't even your own idea. And number two, what you did, you could have done with or without the prayer anyway. When they take them cups out, they didn't pray to take them cups out. When you told them to take them spoons and forks out, they didn't pray to do that, and you didn't either, because you just gave them something they already could do. So my point is, when you're praying for something, you're praying for the part of the equation that you can't do. So there's no reason for you to get involved with something you can't do. All you're doing is annoying yourself. And so you're annoying God. But really what that means is, the word for annoying God is worry, anxiety, stress, fear, doubt. And when we say God, we're talking about I am. So then when you're annoying God, you're saying I am. I am worried. I am anxious. I am stressful. I am afraid. I have doubt. That's your annoying.
You just blew my mind. Oh my God.
Right. You are now sitting there annoying God, just like your kids annoyed you, and you're saying, why are you doubting me? What is the problem? Well, I just want to know if that's organic. Well, my teacher said, and you're just sitting there like, and it's like, why is it always the people who can't do what they're asking you for telling you how to do it? Have you ever noticed that? People who don't have a relationship telling you what yours should be like. People who can't even afford their car telling you, oh girl, I wouldn't buy that. People telling you right? People telling you, oh girl, I don't eat like that. And you like, yeah, you eat like something. Why is it always the people who ain't right telling you what to do? Have you ever noticed that? It's always the people, right? But the people who got it think completely different than you. They move different than you. They think different than you. What does it say in the book? My ways are not your ways. My ways are higher than your ways. I'm not going to do that. If I did things the way you did it, I'd be you. And you the one asking me for something. I'm not asking you. Why would I do things the way you did? Why does what you think matter? Meaning like how I should do it. What you think matters as it relates to your request. How I should go about this. How are you going to tell me how to go about it and you can't do it? If it's such a good idea, why don't you do it? Well then guess what? Go out there. Just go that way. Just to the right. You go down the hall and turn right. And then preferably there's another door and open it and then you can go outside and close the door behind you. Like just get all the way out, as far out as you can get. Right? So what I'm saying to you is this, saying all that to say is this. Well, no, I'm gonna let somebody else summarize. I said all that to say, what is what I'm saying? What does it mean? What am I saying? As it relates to prayer, what is that? As it relates to prayer, what is your part of the equation? Somebody tell me what I just said. So when you're praying now, when you get off to pray, when you are talking to your higher self, like your kids talk to you, what are you doing? What is your part? What is not? I want somebody to break that down. I want somebody to explain it to.
Get to work.
What does that mean?
Belief.
Belief.
Okay. All of us on here are adults, and most of us have kids or close people around us that are young. Think about it like a kid. How does this process work?
Ask,
Stop doubting yourself.
Say it again.
Stop doubting yourself, listening to yourself.
Okay. Leslie,
More.
Leslie, I heard you. Go ahead.
ask, release, believe, and do.
And experience. You don't have to do nothing hardly, except what your higher self tells you. So that's correct as well. But yes, it's simple. It's just steps. When your kids ask you for something, you are God. When you ask God for something, you are the child. It's the physical part of you is the child. The humanity is the child. The father, your consciousness, the parent is your consciousness. So when you say, I am now assuming myself to be, you are saying, God is saying, I am now this. It is now when the parent says, this is happening, the kids are saying, this is now happening. When my mom said, we're going to church, we now say, we're going to church. Now, we may say some other words with it under our breath. Would you say? Nothing. Nothing. Say nothing. Right? Right? The whole point is, right, is that it's the same relationship. It functions the same way. Kids don't complicate it. They don't ask you 50 times, are you sure? They just get your permission and they bounce off. They go and play with their friends, go plaque and play with their room. They go back and they just wait for you to tell them what's next. Because they're asking you for a part of the equation they can't help with. So when somebody tells you you can't pray and then just sit on the couch, yeah, but we're not trying to sit on the couch. The kids don't sit on the couch necessarily. They go back and do what they were doing beforehand. They're not trying to do something or not doing something. What they're doing is not based on what you're doing. They just asked you for something. They're not trying to do or not do something as a sign of their faith. A sign of their faith is them asking you. A sign of their belief is them asking you. They're not doing something to prove that they asked you for something or not. They're just doing something as a result of you saying yes, they move on. They can't do what they're asking you to do anyway, so what's the point of them being around? What's the point of them stressing about it, worrying about it, being anxious about it? They can't help the situation. That's why they came to you. And you're not, you would say, why didn't you ask me? Mom, I sure would have liked some pancakes this morning. Well, how come you didn't ask me? Oh, well, I just didn't know if you had something in there. I just didn't even, you're like, what? It's the same thing. Why would you go without? And your higher self is willing and able to grant you anything you want. But the point is we're making all these conditions upon a request. Kids don't do that. Hey, Mom, how was work yesterday? I don't know if you're too tired to make me pancakes. hey dad, or hey sis, hey, like anybody that's cooking, they don't go into all that stuff. They're so cold with it, they may not even see good morning half the time. They be, hey mom, what's up? Can I have hey mom, hey mom, are you awake? Yeah, what is it? Can I have some pancakes? They don't know how you look. They don't know how you feel. They don't know what you're thinking about. They just, can I have some pancakes? They don't even need to see you, right? They just need you to hear them. Well, we don't need to see God anyway, either. We just need to know that it hears us. Our I amness is in us. It hears us. It hears everything we say, but not just everything we say, because it doesn't need words. It hears everything we think. Our thinking is saying on the inside. So when we're thinking it ain't gonna ever happen, when we're thinking it ain't gonna ever work, when we're thinking, yeah, but the point of that is, number one, that's not really a good way to do it. But number two, it doesn't really matter what we think because we're not the cook. Your kids ask you, they're not showing, hey, did you get a cordon bleu certificate? Did you go to chef school? Show me some accreditation. You got a certificate? Right? Go ahead. What did it say? Ask and you shall receive. We put all these conditions on it. Ask, but you know you got to do something. What are you going to do about something you asked? If you could do it, you wouldn't ask.
So burn a candle.
Right? Ask, burn a candle. Ask, but make sure you're facing this way when you do it. Ask, but make sure that you have bathed first. Ask, but make sure it's Sunday. Ask, like literally think about it. But it's so ridiculous. It sounds like, oh, okay, but if you think it's only ridiculous, look at our kids. They don't put no conditions on asking. They'll knock on your door. They don't care if you're sick. They don't see how you're doing first. They don't even have to see you to ask for your help. And just think about your kids. How many things do they ask you for? Especially the younger they are. They'll ask you for anything. How long does it take them to ask you? Immediately, as soon as it comes to their mind, I want to play video game. Mom, can I play video game? They don't even finish, the thought in their mind don't even finish, and they start asking. But who else are they supposed to ask? Who's the only authority in their life? It ain't them at that age. It's you. Well, at your age, you are always them. The physical you is always a child. It's always governed by the parent, which is your consciousness, which is what you're aware of being. And so if you want to have a physical experience, if you want to change it, you have to change what you're aware of being. You have to go make a different request. If you're hungry and you just think I'm gonna be a good person and I'll just use positive thinking to get some pancakes, that ain't gonna really work. Your mom don't know. You're not saying anything, right? Now she may give you some cereal instead. You didn't ask for anything. She may cook what she wants you to cook. But the point is that your physical self wants to change experiences in this physical world, right? So your human mind says, I want to do this, I want to do that. So now it goes to your higher mind, to the parent, and says, I want this. It says, yay and amen. Now the physical you walks off, but your child walked off as the person who's going to eat pancakes. Did you walk off as the person who makes $5,000 a week? Or are you going to wait for that? So your kids aren't waiting. They expect. They're not waiting. They're not hoping it's true. They just know there's a time difference between when they asked you and when it's cooked. But it's already a done deal because they got your permission. If you can understand that it's a done deal just because you asked, and you go on about your business like your kids do, and you have faith in the fact that you made a choice. I have the ability to choose, and I went to the person who I know can do what I asked. That's why I asked them. I don't know how they do it. I don't have to know how to do it. I don't have to know how to make $5,000 a month. If I did, I wouldn't have prayed. I would have just made $5,000 a month. I wouldn't even be here right now. Right? That's why I said, when they ask you for something, what are they doing? They're praying. When you're praying, it just means you're asking for a part of the equation you don't know how to do physically. You may know how to, if you wanted this job, you know where it is. You can drive there and you can drive home, but you don't know how to get the job. So then you're not praying to drive up or drive home. You're praying to get the job. You're praying for a part of the equation you don't know how to do. When you get the job, you're not praying to get there and praying to get back. You already know how to do that. When you don't have a job, you're not praying there to get back or up. You already know how to do that. So you're only praying for a part of the equation you don't know how to do. The parts you do know how to do, you're not praying about. You just do them. So my point then is that the part you prayed about, you can't do. Otherwise, it's not prayer. So if you can't do it, then why are you in the way? Why are you over here making all these conditions about the person who can do it, what they got to do? Well, mom, you know you can't cook until you get your house shoes on. Well, mom, you know you can't cook to take the rollers out your hair. Mom, dad, you know you can't cook until it's like, why are you putting all these conditions on me? You can't even do it. We're putting so many conditions in the way that we're exhausting the person we're coming to. Through our higher self, we're exhausting ourselves, literally. And then we say, so then what happens when we exhaust ourselves before we get what we want? What happens?
We give up, some change directions. You procrastinate, take longer to get there than you need to.
So guess what? Every time or anytime you do any of those things, that's essentially what's happening. You've essentially worried yourself to the point that you don't even want to be bothered anymore. You've essentially stressed yourself, made yourself so anxious, so uptight, so ridiculous that you just quit. It's too much. You can't keep it up. You can't, it's like taking a 5-hour drive standing on the pedal and you redline in the car, right? All the way to the right. The car just, after a while, the engine's gonna be like, man, you know what? Okay, time out. The thing just starts smoking, right? Just come on, man. Seriously, is that what we're doing here? Right? Just standing on the pedal, just literally up out the seat, just on the pedal like this. Like, just look at how much of us live. Look how many of us live like this. We gripping everything. We gripping our money, gripping our health, we just grip it. Yeah. I mean, shoot, I'm talking from experience. I'm out here on no mountain looking down. I'm talking from experience. I didn't woke up gripping in my sleep. Like, why is my hand hurting? Like I was choking the hell out of somebody, but it was nothing but air. But I'm choking the hell out of that money. Like, stay here. Do not leave my hand, man. I'm gonna hurt you, and it's money. Oh, like it can really, like, yeah, it's like, man, are you finished? Now you can't even see the president's face look all crazy on there. You crumpled it all up. Can't even spend a thing now. Try to give it to the teller, and they looking like, man, what has happened here? What have you been going through? Right? You done strangled the heck out of Hamilton. You done strangled the dude's neck all up. Right? Gripping everything. We're gripping everything. Right? But our kids can't be found if they ask us for something. Can't find them. The only time they come back around is when they start smelling it. Oh, that smells good. Stay out. Right? But they start asking. Well, then guess what? One more thing, and because I want to make sure we get more questions or anything else. Then watch how cold kids are. Has anybody tell me that? Well, I'll ask a question to see if anybody knows. So now you're cooking the pancakes, they start smelling it. Now they know it's almost done. Tell me something. Tell me something that has happened to you when the pancakes weren't done yet, but they can smell them and they come in the kitchen. Tell me one thing kids do or have done.
Is it ready?
Are they?
No, not is it ready? Okay, who else?
Reach for it.
How much longer?
Okay. Reach for it. That reach for it is pretty good. What else though? Think about it. Huh?
Are you done yet?
Are you done? Okay. Nope. That too. But think about like
How much longer?
okay, how much longer? What else?
They put themselves back in the situation to determine what you're doing and when you're going to be done.
Okay. But what else? There's another thing they do. Not often, but when I tell you, you'll be like, oh yeah, they do. Or they have. But it's really a reflection of their belief in you.
They tell you smells good, they get excited, they're like, ooh.
Yeah,
They
okay.
ask you to upgrade their initial ask.
So to
Put
speak.
strawberry.
Yes.
They put chocolate. Can we
Yes.
put blueberries?
Yes. They start asking for something else while you're doing something else. They start either asking you to add to it, or they be like, Mom, can I have some orange juice? How in the hell am I going to get this orange juice right now when I'm cooking this thing? See.
You lost the marker.
But he come back.
Now think about it at this point. The skillet is hot in your hand. The thing is almost done. You don't even want these pancakes. They're not even for you. The skillet's hot in your hand. You making this cat something, and they walk and be like, "Yeah, can I have some orange juice? How am I going to get this orange juice? And I'm cooking this thing, man." But it's a reflection of you. They believe so much in you, they don't even think you can't do it. They're not even worried about the pancakes anymore. They've literally moved on to their next request. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you can believe in yourself the same way those kids do. You can be like, I want $5,000 a week. So you asked on Monday. Then by Wednesday, you'd be like, you know what? And I want to go to Disneyland too. And then you know what? But that's the way. Who else are your kids supposed to ask? It's not a reflection of their lack of gratitude. It's a reflection of their belief in your ability to do anything. They don't know you can't do it, really. They're just like, I want it, and I got to ask her. And, she can cook this, and why not? Why not? Are you looking like, do you see me cook? Right? But like you said, hey, you know what? And can I have some eggs? Matter of fact, and my friend, they get chocolate chip pancakes. And you'd be like, do you see any chocolate chips anywhere around here? Right? But they just start thinking it's a restaurant now. It went from the kitchen to a restaurant. You went from mom to chef. They didn't upgraded your whole responsibility level. Now you're the waiter and the waitress, because now you got to stop. They want you to stop and go to the refrigerator and pour in some orange juice while you keep cooking their meal. Right? But it's a reflection of their belief in you. It's a reflection of how powerful they believe you are. It's a reflection of they don't have any hangups asking you. They don't have any hangups believing you. They don't have no hangups thinking they got to help you. They can't help you. They know they can't. We've had right. Our kids are old enough where we caught them in the kitchen getting something they weren't supposed to be getting. They didn't pray to you then. If they thought they had a way to do it without asking you, they'd be up on that stool, right? They'd be up in there trying to get into that jar, right? Yeah, we've all. And then right, you hit them with, and you just know. And you hit them with, what you doing in there? Huh? Nothing. Right? Then they try to close it back quiet. They didn't pray to you then. It's the same thing. As they get older, they stop praying to you less, or they start praying to you about different things because their maturity, they grow up. Well, it's the same thing in your mind. In our mind, when we grow up, we don't stop praying. I don't stop calling my mom. I just call her for different things now than I did when I was 20. I don't stop asking her for advice. I just stop asking her for different things than I did when I was 20. Right? But I still call her because she still has an authority, a level of wisdom to just things that I can't beat time. I can't beat it. And your higher self has been here a lot longer than your physical self. So just stop the cap, knock it off and get over it and just ask, man. Because that's what it's here for. That's what your higher self is here for. Just like that's what your parents are here for. That's what you're here for. That's why the kids ask. That's why it says in the book, you won't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you're like a child. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it's saying. If children don't have a problem believing you, they don't have a problem. They believe you too much. That's why they got you cooking and serving now. You cooking pancakes with orange juice in your hand, right? And chocolate chips now, and they want it right. I mean, teachers, like I've been one, Giovanni's been one. I'm sure maybe some other people who teach. How many kids are asking you for something at the same time? How many kids are asking you, can I go to the bathroom? Can I go outside? So-and-so's hitting me. So they think you can manage 50 things. I didn't realize my teachers were human until maybe 10 years ago. I just thought it was Miss So-and-so, Mr. So-and-so. I didn't know they had lives, wives, husbands, kids, headaches. I didn't know any of that. I'm just like, look, you here for me. Can I go outside? Hey, look, so-and-so is bothering me. Hey, can you help me find my lunch? Hey, my mom said that that you need to call her, right? The kids just giving you everything. They don't, because they're like, who else am I supposed to go to? So what I'm saying all that to say to you is this, all of that is that when you ask your higher self for something, it's the same way your kids are asking you for something. Who else are they supposed to ask? And they believe you implicitly and they just want your permission. They can't help you. You just want your higher self. You say, this is what I want to be, to do, to have. And I know, what does it say? What does it say in the book? Jesus, the expression of consciousness said, thank you, Father, that you hear me. I know that you always hear me. So thank you, consciousness. Thank you, awareness, that you hear me. I know that you always hear me. And because I know you hear me, I know I have what I asked of you. I have it already. The kids ask you for pancakes, they say yes, and they walk off because they have it already. They already have it. And they think you're so phenomenal. Now they want orange juice with it. And they want chocolate chips and everything on it, and strawberries, like Leslie was saying, right? And Giovanni with all them kids, right? One adult and 30 kids. And they're asking you for it. Everybody asking you at the same time. Right? And want you to fix 30 different problems from 30 different people. Right? But who else are they supposed to ask? That's how they see you. And you are capable. Right? That's how you do it. That's why you do it. Your higher self is capable of any desire you have. If you just realize this is an agreement between me and me, the outside world has nothing to do with it. So I'm not going out in the world looking for it. They didn't agree to give me nothing. This is between me and me. But I know I'm faithful to myself. I keep my own word to myself. This is me. And I said I make $5,000 a week. So guess what? I now make $5,000 a week. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But now stuff is cooking. And I'm going to get the scent. I'm going to get the ideas. I don't have to go find nothing. If I had to find it, I would have already found it. I've already been doing it. Right? I don't know. But I know what I want. And I know what I'm assuming to be true now because I've asked. So now I'm off and running. I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm playing. I'm back outside. I'm up in the room. I went to take a shower. The pancakes are ready when they're ready. But I'll start to smell them. I'll start to see them. You'll start to see them in your life. You'll start to see them. You'll start to smell them. Right? And so you don't have to go out running around trying to figure it all out. If you knew you wouldn't have prayed, you would have just did it. Right? You don't have to figure it out. That's for your parent. That's for your higher self. It knows how to do it. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it will let you know what you need to do. Assume you already have your 5,000. Assume you're already a real estate agent. Doing what? Last thing, Leslie, this is for you. Told you. Oh, I know you thought I forget. Time is out. It ain't up. It ain't up. Time is not up. So I asked you several weeks ago, your relationship with your business, your daughter. Okay. Right? And describe it. Okay. So now I want you to describe your relationship with your daughter. Describe your relationship.
With my daughter?
Yes.
Describe a relationship. Our relationship is extremely close. We are, I don't want to call her a friend. She is a confidant. She is someone that depends on me as much as I depend on her.
Okay, perfect. Stop. Just stop. Describe your relationship with your customers, clients, whatever you call
them. My relationship with my clients is, first of all, honest, consistent, truthful, dependable.
Okay. So successful, right? But successful. So it doesn't matter the words, but it's the awareness, right? Just like I said to you several weeks ago, when you can describe, your business like you do your daughter, when you can describe your relationship with your clients or your customers the way you can with your children, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? So for all of us, when you have a business, right? Think of something you love. How do you describe it? Then how do you describe your business? When you think of someone you love, what is your relationship? When you think of your clients, what is your relationship? Define your relationship with your business just like you do anyone in your life.
When you put that in front of me, the thing that I went back and really thought about is how do I want people to experience my products? What do I want them to say about them?
Great. So stop. Did you do that before?
I did not.
Okay. So how many of us do you think are not doing that? And then wonder why we don't have the relationship we want and we ain't talked about it.
I think far too many, because what we think about is what we think we want to have as opposed to what we want them to have coming back to us.
With us. You want this to be not just transactional, you want to be transformational.
Yes.
It's not just a transaction, you want it to be transformational. You want when people interact with you, they come out of that other side and they're like, when you go to a hairdresser and you walk out and you on fire, right? When you go to a car wash and you like, yeah, it looks good, right? Go ahead. I see you saying something. Go ahead.
I'm going to tell just one little story
Yes.
real quick. This is about Sparkle. When we went to the family reunion, and at the end, I was leaving, and she hugged me. And I met several people that day, touched several people that day, hugged several people that day. I remember that hug from her. I will remember it forever.
What did Maya Angelou say? People will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. Your business is
100%.
an opportunity to make somebody feel something. And if you can make someone feel something, like we talked about last couple of weeks, if you can extend the quantity of someone's life or improve the quality of someone's life, you'll always have business. When you can make someone feel like Sparkle made you feel, when you can make someone feel the way your daughter makes you feel, when you can make others feel about you or your business the way someone makes you feel, then they will feel the same way you felt, and therefore they'll always remember you. How could they forget?
Yeah. I want when anyone uses any of my products to say to themselves, whoever made this cares about me.
Do you say that?
Yes.
Right? So every time you're cooking your products up, you know how people say cook with love. Make your stuff with love. If you're a real estate agent, show your house with love. If you are a whatever it is you do, right? Do it, put love into your love of what you're doing, your love of yourself. Put love into your business, meaning put the love into your business and it comes out the other side, right? Sparkle had love in her heart for you, so you felt what she had already. She gave you what she had. When you give what you have into your soap, into your real estate business, into your advertising, into whatever it is you do, it doesn't matter what it is, because the principle, the time principle is effect. People, you can always make people feel the same way. It doesn't matter what you do. A good car wash, a good hairdo, a good dentist, a good friend, a good neighborhood, a good school for your children. How do they make you feel? How does it make you feel? That's the whole point of your business. And when you can impact, when you can transform people because they perceive, they get the love that you have for yourself that comes through to them, that they're expressing to you, they'll never forget you. You'll never be without business, because you'll always remember that hug Sparkle gave you. You'll always remember that realtor who sold you that house. You'll always remember that car wash. You'll always remember that beautician. You'll always remember whatever it is, the person who can make you feel that way. It doesn't matter what they're doing.
You're right. Can I say one more thing to you?
Yes.
Today, you separated helplessness and asking for me.
Okay.
I grew up believing that asking equaled helplessness on my part. And I would never ask because I didn't want to feel helpless or appear helpless. And I thank you so much for that. I thank you so much for that, because it frees me now to really ask for what I want and ask for what I need.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure. Like I said, like I told Sparkle earlier, and like I tell all of you guys, that makes me feel happy, because it's all about you, all of us at the same time. The information is for all of us. And to hear you when we digest it and we can take it, man, that's awesome. So I'm excited to see what you do with it.
Know that I'll be doing with it. I promise you.
That's it. That's what I like to hear. That's what it's all about, right? Doers of the word, not hearers only. That's it. All right. Anybody have anything else they'd like to say? Go ahead. If you have something. Okay. Okay. Before that, anybody have anything else they'd like to say, or anything, or?
Just thank you. Above all else, just thank you.
Oh, it's my honor and pleasure.
I was going to say, another amazing session. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good to see you, brother. Thank you, Sparkle.
Great session, Coach. Great session.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure, sir.
And if I
I
could say
appreciate
something real
you walking
quick.
in your purpose, Coach.
Say it again.
Me?
Yes, Giovanni.
I said I appreciate you walking in your purpose, Coach.
Oh, I appreciate all of you doing the same thing. That's why we're here sharing, right? All coming together to reason, right? Absolutely.
I just like to
Coach
say,
Lucky.
oh, okay.
Yes. Justin, go ahead.
Oh, my bad, Coach Lucky. I just wanted to say, like, man, sometimes we don't feel like, even like in these sessions, we may not feel like, man, are we really applying the information? But kind of like some of the stuff you were saying today, like, man, it's just so deep because like in this last week, I just noticed so much different productivity, so much more positive self-talk.
Yes.
Just the way, interacting with different partners or clients in my business, just being able to take them on that experience and that journey and just like feeling like every week it gets deeper and better. So I just really appreciate you for walking in your calling and imparting into all of us, because my family, has our lives have changed since being a part of these Saturdays. So
See?
thank you.
Yeah, even he thinks so. I like it.
Say hey.
Hey. And that's wonderful. And that's what I want all of us to understand, is that all of us can affect each other the same way. Like all of us have something to offer that can make people feel something, right? That can improve people's lives, change people's life, extend people's life, right? All of you have something. We all have something we can give to someone. And I want you to understand, it's not just me standing up here trying to do that for you guys, so to speak. Is that I'm trying to get you to realize that you should be standing up somewhere doing it for other people, whether it's through your soap business, whether it's through your real estate business, whatever you do, you're doing the same thing. And to realize that somebody's sitting there listening to you, even if it's while they're rubbing your soap on their skin, they're listening to you. They're hearing you through that interaction. They're hearing you through your real estate. They're hearing you. And I want you to understand that you are all that to someone else, to a whole group of people. And the more of that you can see yourself being, the more people you will affect the same way. And a hug and a soap and showing someone a home and whatever business endeavors that you have. Right? Okay. Anyone else? Dad, I know you want to say something. I'll go ahead and let you talk this.
I just want to say to the people who are part of this, spread the word. Let them know about this. Let them see this. Let them make the choice to see this and have their lives change. Everybody who's on here has someone they're concerned about. And just what you've gotten, they can get the same thing. So spread the word. That's it.
Go ahead, Dad.
Yeah. So as always, thank you guys all for coming. What do we
The challenge.
Okay. So as always, all the stuff is on the site. If you want me to help you or whatever, it's on the Mental Academy site, mental.academy website. The challenge of being you is coming up in 2 weeks, not this week, but next week, June 20th. So there's an early bird special right now that's going off Monday. So Monday it'll be back to its original price of whatever it is. And just letting you know that. But most importantly, just, this information is for us to be able to find ourselves in it, and to be able to, whatever you can find out of this information, take it and apply it for yourself on your own street ground level, and realize that you have and you are the power to be or do anything that you want. And just like your kids ask you for something and they don't mind, they'll ask you for anything, you can ask your higher self, that is you, for anything. And it has the power to do anything that you will give it the opportunity to do. And that you will just persist in assuming and believing that it's already done, right? Go off into your world, keep doing what you're doing. It will come. You'll start to smell it. You'll start to see it. You'll start to feel it in ways that you could not have ever imagined. You could have never grinded to make up, hustled to make up, or did anything else. Well, you don't have to do that. It's like your kids didn't have to cook the pancakes. They still eat, right? So you're going to eat. You're going to eat, but just ask, step out of the way and where you shouldn't be, and handle your business on your end. When it's time to eat or pull the dishes out, you'll know when that time is, right? So thanks again for everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Great week. And we'll catch up next weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you all. Yes, sir. My man right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Little Justin. I like it. You guys have a great week. Peace.